Hi guys, I am at my pop-up shop today. You can see it in the background right there. Black and white jams, those are mine. I've been wanting to talk a little bit about pricing. It's been on my mind because we're at this market and it's full of local makers, people who do beautiful things, people who have skills, and it sort of has grown out of that makers movement where people learn a skill, they have something that they can make, they make a few of them and they sell them. It's not necessarily business, and then it grows and it becomes a business. So one of the real stumbling blocks people come to is, how do I price my things? I think mostly we struggle with, what is it worth? What will people pay for it? And also, what's my time worth? So for me, there's a pretty serious formula that I don't deviate from too far, and it's to take the cost of the materials plus the cost of my time and multiply that by 4. That's your selling price. It'll give you a good gauge of, are people willing to pay that? Is that too much money? Is it not enough money? I mean, that's not really usually a problem, but sometimes people are like, is there something wrong with this because it's so inexpensive? It's a thing, but it's not too worrisome. But a lot of times as makers, we think our time isn't valuable, and so we will say, I'll just cover the cost of what materials I have or what other bills I have, and I won't worry about my time, or I won't worry about my craftsmanship, right? Paying that in some way. But the deal is, you're gonna eventually need to pay someone else to do it because there's only so much time and you only have 2 hands. So if it's gonna grow, if it's gonna become a lucrative business, you need to be able to pay someone else to do it. So when you're calculating your cost, think about how much you would have to pay someone else to do it. They might take longer than you do. That's a good thing to factor in. You probably will have to train them. That's another time piece to factor in. But just to find out if your brand is, or your product rather, is sustainable, take what it costs you to make it and how much you would have to pay someone else to craft it, and then multiply it by 4. Are people willing to pay that? For me, my pajamas, right? So I make baby pajamas. Say they cost $10 to make. That would mean, multiplied by 4, they would sell for $40. That's a reasonable price. That means what will happen is they will cost me $10 to make. I will then get paid $10 when I sell it to a store for $20. I can still make a profit selling it for that price, and a store will double what I charge them, and then they will sell it for that. That's how I get to that $40 price. If my pajamas cost me $20 to make, then the store would have to sell it for $80. That is not sustainable. People will not pay $80 for baby pajamas. So then I would know I either have to bring my costs down, or I have to sell it myself. Can't sell it to stores, but I could sell it on my own website. So your pricing also, it impacts where you can sell. It impacts who your customer is, right? I can sell a lot more baby pajamas at $40 than I can at $80. If they're really special, I might be able to sell them for $80. I just would sell fewer and I would make more money per sale. So those are all things to think about. Also, when you're shopping, if you find something that costs $4, say you find a sweater for $4, it's good to think about, is that enough money to pay for the materials? It's probably not. Is it enough money to pay for the materials and whoever sewed it? Because clothes, despite what a lot of people think, they are all sewn by people on sewing machines. There's no big giant industrial machine that just like spits out clothes. So if you're buying it and it isn't likely that the cost you're paying can cover the materials and the labor, then you have to know someone else is paying that cost. Is it the worker? Maybe. Is it the brand? Maybe. A lot of times things that go into places like TJ Maxx, the brand is just going to cut their losses. They're going to get what money they can out of it and just not, they're going to lose money. But so in that case, you are benefiting from the company cutting their losses. Sometimes that's okay, that's to the benefit of everyone. Sometimes it's not, you just have to sort of be aware. But it's definitely changed the way I shop to think, is the price of this item reasonable? Could they be making it out of materials that are unsafe or questionable? If it's made out of recycled materials, sure. If it's made out of metal, for instance, a lot of times we have issues with lead, right? So just know pricing is important. It will tell you a lot, both as a buyer and as a maker or a seller. Food for thought.